A very good evening and welcome to this Monday's edition of Prime 10 News, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. It's the 20th of February 2023 and we've got a long list of stories coming to you. But first, let's take a look at our headlines for tonight.
Tear gas and water cannons fired at SJB protest in Colombo. Tear gas fired at JJB rally in Kurunegala. Election Commission tells Supreme Court that local government election will likely not go ahead as planned due to reasons beyond its control. Complaint filed with Bribery Commission over deal that led to the payment of 770 million rupees for missing crude. Sri Lanka's exclusive marine geospatial data at risk of falling into the hands of foreign nations. Kimbulavala street food vendors asked to leave.
අපිට නම් කිව්වේ බන්දුරුගෝණ යමතුමා මෙතනින් යනකොට යාව පාරේ මෙතන ට්‍රැෆික් එකට අහු වෙලා කියලා.
Mitsubishi and Thai say to close offices in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka's election headquarters.
On to your lead story tonight. Water cannons and tear gas were fired at the protest march organized by the Samagi Jana Balavegya earlier today. The protest was organized against attempts to delay the local government election.
Prior to the protest march, security was heightened at Fort and the Technical Junction, while steps were taken to close down roads. Protesters arrived at the Technical Junction from several roads. As the group gathered opposite the railway headquarters and attempted to move forward, the police announced a court order. When protesters marched forward despite police announcements, authorities fired tear gas and water cannons. Despite showery conditions, the protesters expressed their opposition and a heated situation arose between the protesters and police. Afterwards, the police allowed the group to engage in their demonstration from Technical Junction.
We came to the streets to address the Vikramasinghas and the Rajapaksas. Upon knowing our arrival, Ranil Vikramasinghe has taken his cabinet to Kandy. We would like to tell Ranil Vikramasinghe that we have awakened the entire Western province. This uprising will only end after we get the election. If he was that much of a thug, he should have been in the presidential palace. After using 5,000 police officers, if he's thinking he can suppress us, he is wrong. We're not afraid of Ranil. This is just the start. We will continue our struggle to demand the local government election, and he can deploy the entire police and military force in every corner of the country. The government printer is saying there is no police protection. We can see the police here. The Ranil Rajapaksa government must be thinking that they can postpone the election forever. Ranil Vikramasinghe has to realize that he will not be in that seat forever. We too will get a chance to sit on that seat. So be ready to face justice for the wrongdoings you committed.
This is the first attempt of the Samangi Janabalawege in establishing a government. After playing with the constitution, police, the election commission and ballot papers, he tried to prevent the election from taking place. He must remember that he only has a few days left in that seat.
The police stopped us here illegally to protect Ranil. We will take matters to the courts against the police. We will continue our efforts legally. We are here despite the weather to take back the right to vote which Ranil has taken away. We will fight till our last breath until we take back the people's right to vote from the Rajapaksas and Ranil.
Leader of the opposition, Sajid Premadasa, also took part in the protest.
මතක තියාගන්න න්‍යාන්දු අහදනෝ පෙන්නන්න මැතිවරණයට සල්ලි නැතයි කියලා අපේ මැතිවරණ ව්‍යාපාර අරාජික කරන්න අඩපණ කරන්න අපේ ගමන අඩපණ කරන්න බෑ අපේ ගමන අරාජික කරන්න බෑ අපි දෙන්නෙත් බෑ හෙට දවසේ මැතිවරණ ජයග්‍රහණය වෙනුවෙන් අපි රැලි පහක් පවත්වනවා ඒ සටන ජයග්‍රහණය කරන්නට ඒ
Thereafter, the opposition leader questioned police officers as to why water cannons and tear gas were fired at party supporters. After engaging in their demonstration, the group dispersed. Sri Lanka police fired tear gas and water cannons to disperse a protest organised by the Jatika Janabalawege against the attempt to delay local government elections. The protest led to a disruption of traffic along the Kurunegala-Colombo main road, and police read out a court order against the protest. Heated exchange was reported between Sri Lanka police and the protesters. The group dispersed and thereafter converged again for a rally and dispersed once more.
You have no right to rob the people of their right to vote. We want to ask the Ranil Wickremesinghe Rajapaksa government, do you want to follow the same path Gotabaya went on? If the election is held as scheduled and the process is not obstructed, we would not have to converge in thousands to Anuradhapura and Tangol yesterday and Colombo today. This is just the beginning. Ranil is the president because of 134 SLPP MPs. He is at their mercy. When a general election is held, the compass will establish a government.
පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණයකට ගියාට පස්සේ අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මාලිමාවේ ආණ්ඩුවක් එනවා.
Sri Lanka's National Election Commission has informed the Supreme Court that obstacles have arisen with regard to conducting the local government election on the 9th of March 2023 as planned. The National Election Commission made this notification via a motion on Monday. The NEC on the 18th of January and 10th of February gave an undertaking that it has taken steps according to the law to conduct the 2023 local government election and that it will continue to take steps according to the law to conduct the said election. However, the NEC had noted that after the said undertaking, circumstances have arisen which would prevent the Elections Commission from acting according to the circumstances entirely beyond the control of the Elections Commission. The motion filed by the NEC noted that the Treasury Secretary had informed he is unable to provide the necessary funds to conduct the election. Furthermore, the government printer has informed the Elections Commission that she is unable to release the ballot papers for the elections until a sum of 410.6 million rupees is paid up front to the Department of Government Printing, according to the motion. The National Election Commission in its motion had noted that the Inspector General of Police had failed to provide security to the process of printing ballot papers and added that the IGP has indicated that he requires funds for the conduct of the election, which are approximately threefold of the funds previously provided to Sri Lanka Police during elections. The National Election Commission noted that the relevant government institutions were informed to provide fuel quotas for vehicles used for the local government election. However, those requests have not been fulfilled thus far. The National Election Commission in its motion to the Supreme Court filed documents to claim that the Treasury Secretary, Power and Energy Secretary, Government Printer, Inspector General of Police, Chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board, Chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, among others, had not provided the facilities required for the upcoming election. Moreover, a writ application filed by retired Sri Lanka Army Colonel W.M.R. Vijay Sundara seeking an order to invalidate the preparations being made for the local government elections will be taken up on the 23rd of February 2023. The matter was called up in the presence of Justices S. Raja and Shiran Gunaratne on Monday. Retired Sri Lanka Army Colonel W.M.R. Vijay Sundara filed a motion with the Supreme Court seeking for this application to be taken up ahead of the 23rd of February. As the postal vote will not go ahead as planned on the 23rd of February, all parties had agreed that the matter can be taken up on the previously scheduled date.
The citizens of the struggle movement engaged in a silent protest opposite the UN office in Colombo, seeking their position on the delay in local government elections. The group handed over a letter to the UN office in Colombo, citing their issues. Newsfirst correspondent said they engaged in a satyagraha opposite the UN office for about an hour.
අපි එක්සත් ජාතික සංවිධානයෙන් ඍජු විමසීමක් කරනවා ලංකාව එක්සත් ජාතික සංවිධානයේ.
We posed a direct question from the United Nations. As a UN member, what is the state of Sri Lanka's democracy if the president and the government are taking measures to delay the election? We will not allow the president and the government to crush the democracy of the country.
ජාතික සංවිධානයේ ප්‍රශ්න කරනවා වගේම අපි කියනවා ආණ්ඩුවට ජනාධිපතිවරයාට මොනම හේතුවක් නිසාවත් මේ රටේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය බුල්ඩෝසර් කරන අපි ඊට තියන්නේ නැහැ.
The Freedom People's Congress said that the period of the election is not being determined according to the constitution or the law.
අද ආරම්භ වෙන්නේ කළු සතිය. රටේ තියෙන්නේ හරි දුමත. අද ප්‍රශ්නය වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මැතිවරණ දිනා ගන්න එක නෙවෙයි. මැතිවරණ තබා ගන්න.
Today begins the Black Week. The situation in the country at present is astonishing. The issue these days is not winning the election but holding it. This is a situation we have never experienced as a country before. We always had elections on time in this country. Now there is a new agenda being promoted. According to that, it is not necessary for the country to have an election. Because of this, the finance minister's approval is required to release funds for the election. The Minister of Finance is an active politician and a party leader. His party will be contesting for the local government election. The elections are not being determined as per the constitution or the law. It is being done according to the will of an individual. That individual is the Minister of Finance. The circular that was released 3 days ago is solid proof of this. According to the circular, the signature of the Minister of Finance is required in order to release funds for the election.
පැහැදිලිව සඳහන් වෙනවා දවස් 3කට ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඉදිරිපත් කරපු චක්‍රලේඛ. එතුමාගේ අත්සන ලබා ගන්න ඕනේ මැතිවරණයක් සඳහා මුදල් ලබා ගැනීම.
A group of former senior state officials supporting the Jatika Janabalawegaya convened a media briefing this morning.
The finance secretary said 10 billion rupees have been allocated. Thereafter, the NEC said the election can be conducted with just 8 billion rupees. Since then, the vast set of responsibilities falling on state officials to protect the sovereignty of the people has started crumbling. For the first time in our history, the government printer said she is unable to print ballot papers owing to a lack of funds. This is not a drama, it is an American crime movie. The government printer is the second character in it. We can see someone is controlling her from behind the scenes. When they become puppets, all sense of reasoning are forgotten. There is no empathy. They do not feel it because they are puppets. The National People's Power will establish a government at the next election, and we will bring all these officials who threaten the sovereignty of the people before the law.
තර්ජනය කරන්න හවුල් වෙන සියලුම රාජ්‍ය නිලධාරීන්ට ඔය උසාවියට කැඳලා අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ට විරුද්ධව නඩු පාරුනවා.
UNP Chairman Vajra Abeyewardena says only the incumbent president can build the country.
Since 1946, the UNP has done a great deal of work. The UNP secured independence through unity and not by war. D.S. Senanayake became Prime Minister not by winning the election. The then Parliament had 96 seats and DS had only 46. He did not have a majority. However, a majority of leaders from the far left, far right, Tamil and Muslim communities said DS is their leader. That is how he became the Prime Minister. We were divided in 1952 and since then we have only seen destruction. However, Ranil Wickremesinghe has survived it all. The United National Party is preparing to bring everyone together and engage in an effort to rebuild the country. Only President Ranil Wickremesinghe can do it and no one else.
Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga attended the first election rally of the Nava Lanka Freedom Party in Matugama.
I met a Treasury official recently who said that the Treasury does not have money and is struggling to source funds to pay the next month's salary. I feel ashamed. This is a level of bankruptcy. The answer can be summed up in a few words. The country was looted in broad daylight. The Rajapaksas looted the country with no limit. They siphoned off funds from every project. So, from the projects that were launched before leaving, the Rajapaksas have looted 15 billion rupees.
එතුමියගේ කාලේ මේ රටේ ආර්ථිකය රීනාගේට ඒ විතරක් නෙමෙයි.
During her reign, the country's economy went to a negative value. Not only that, even after she retired, she had to pay a fine after the Supreme Court ordered her to do so after considering a case filed against her. A former president with such a history is talking about other fraud. It is now a style followed by those who made the country go bankrupt to say things against the leaders who developed the country and gave it freedom. We as a party will take the lead to conduct investigations on the wealth and property of all former leaders who ruled the country after independence. If they have property within the country or overseas, we will take steps to bring laws for the government to acquire them and penalize the owner.
සියලු දේපල ඔවුන්ගේ තියෙන දේපල සම්බන්ධයෙන් පරීක්ෂා කළ හැකි දේශීය හා විදේශීයව කිසියම් දේපලක් තියෙනවා නම් එය අත්පත් කරගත හැකි ඔවුන්ට දඬුවම් පැමිණිය හැකි විශේෂ නීති සම්පාදනය කිරීමක් කරන්න ඒ මූලිකත්වය අපි දෙනවා.
A Gallup-style Mood of the Nation poll conducted by Verite Research was published yesterday.
The poll was conducted as a part of the syndicated survey instrument by Verite Research. It was conducted in early February 2023 and is based on an island-wide nationally representative sample of responses from over 1,000 Sri Lankan adults. According to the poll, to the question, do you approve or disapprove of the way the current government is working? Only 10% of the participants said they approve. According to Verite reports, in June 2022, the approval rating was at an all-time low of 3%. To the question, in general, are you satisfied or dissatisfied with the way things are going in Sri Lanka? Only 4% of participants said they were satisfied. This rating was at 7% in October 2022 and 2% in June 2022. According to the Mood of the Nation poll, economic confidence was at negative 78.4. This score can range from negative 100 to positive 100. A score above 0 means more people see the economic conditions positively rather than negatively. If everyone thinks that the economy is in a poor condition and if everyone also thinks it is getting worse, then the score will be a negative 100.
In the meantime, Nikkei Asia has reported that Japanese companies such as Mitsubishi and Taisei corporations are closing offices and cancelling contracts in Sri Lanka as its devastating economic crisis makes doing business difficult. Quoting Mitsubishi, Nikkei Asia reported it will close its Colombo office at the end of March, citing changes in the economic environment. The company handles engineering, procurement and construction for power plants and trades in steel and chemical products in Sri Lanka. Projects already in progress will continue and be managed by staff in neighbouring countries. In March 2020, engineering group Taisei won a contract worth 62 billion yen for the construction of a 4-story passenger terminal building, an elevated bridge and more for the second phase of the expansion of the Bandar Naik International Airport near Colombo. As the economic turmoil deepened, the Japan International Cooperation Agency stopped lending to state airport operator Airport and Aviation Services in Sri Lanka, drying up funds for the project. The engineering company is negotiating with the airport operator to cancel the project and is in the process of liquidating the project. It has apparently booked losses on the project. According to the report, the company has said, and I quote, "We will refrain from commenting on individual projects," unquote. We're crossing over to a short commercial break. Stay with News First. We will be right back.
News First. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you. Experience the best in healthcare at Durden's Hospital. We continue to evolve into a purpose-built hospital built to deliver world-class care. Trusting us for all your healthcare needs. Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
Welcome back. You're watching Primetime News on News First. Moving on with more local developments. The 6 students, including student monks, who were arrested during a protest opposite the Kelaniya University last night, were released on personal bails of 50,000 rupees each. They were produced to the Mahara magistrate today.
The student union of the Kelaniya University protested opposite the university premises on Sunday night, demanding the immediate release of its convener Kalu Mudda Nayaka and student activist Dilshan Harshana. Sri Lanka police thereafter took measures to disperse the protesters.
It was reported that approximately 400 students were present. Police force was used to disperse them. Water cannons and tear gas were used, and only a limited number of tear gas was used for this. Reasonable force was used to disperse the group.
Up next is Action TV.
On 3 previous occasions, Action TV revealed that the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation had suffered a loss of more than 770 million rupees solely due to an unsolicited proposal from a Singapore-based firm that delivered a consignment of crude oil in November 2022, where 25,786 crude oil barrels were missing. The missing barrels were confirmed following an inspection carried out by an independent body that looked into the unloading of the shipment. The independent inspection is a widely accepted international practice, and it is very rare for it to be challenged or scrutinized. However, the media coordinator for the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation in a letter to Action TV noted that a technical inspection is carried out when it was observed that there was a short supply in the shipment in question. It added that the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation had sought the advice of the Attorney General to institute legal action after the supplier refused to make payments for the missing crude oil. Seeking the advice of the Attorney General and conducting a technical inspection into the missing shipment is akin to closing the stable door after the horse has bolted. This is because the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation had made a full payment to the supplier for the shipment. The Citizens Force Against Fraud, Corruption and Waste filed a complaint with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption to conduct an investigation into this deal.
The CPC made a payment of 1,432,788 crude oil barrels that arrived in 2 separate shipments last year. However, only 1,398,002 crude barrels are unloaded. This is a loss of 770 million rupees to the country. Despite the economic crisis, they have not stopped looting.
Sri Lanka is in a situation where it cannot even spend on elections to secure the people's right to vote. Therefore, should we allow 770 million rupees to be wasted unnecessarily?
We at News First have repeatedly highlighted the dangers faced by the Sea of Sri Lanka, our most valuable natural resource. Tonight, we dig deeper into the dangers posed to the Sea of Sri Lanka.
Sea of Sri Lanka.
The Sea of Sri Lanka is the island's most valuable resource, with priceless elements in both physical and non-physical forms. Hydrography, which deals with the measurement and description of the physical features, is one of those extremely valuable resources that Sri Lanka can possess. Every single vessel passing through the Sea of Sri Lanka must purchase the maps that highlight the sea area belonging to Sri Lanka. These hydrographs are constantly updated, and in the maritime sphere, a map is sold for between $20 to $25. Any vessel passing through the Sea of Sri Lanka must obtain several such maps. The usual practice is that the local hydrographic organization must prepare these maritime maps and sell them to the International Hydrographic Organization. In addition, matters that are of paramount importance to the country's sovereignty, national security and other matters would usually be omitted from these maps and thereafter be sold for maritime services. Unfortunately, 2 other countries have gained the upper hand with regard to Sri Lanka's exclusive maritime maps. Since the colonial era, marine geospatial data of the Sea of Sri Lanka was prepared by the United Kingdom Hydrographic Office. The National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency, or NARA, and the United Kingdom Hydrographic Office have signed bilateral agreements for the purpose of the distribution of nautical charts and electronic navigational charts, also known as ENCs. In the meantime, India too has expressed its interest in this field. India has already published several maps of marine geospatial data that include the Sea of Sri Lanka as well. However, according to international law, consent from the other country is necessary to do so. So, has India obtained such permission?
We have informed the UKHO and inquired if the UKHO supported it. We were made aware of the publication very recently. There cannot be multiple maps unless it was done illegally. The UKHO is also stunned by this. India cannot sell it. The UKHO must prepare and pay us. I don't know if it was sold through unofficial channels to India.
ඔක දැනගත්ත ගමන් තමයි මම UKH වලට ලියලා ඇහුවේ ওই chart තුන ගැන ඔයාද ওই chart තුන ගැන මට විස්තරයක් ඕන කියලා. ඔය ඔයාලම තියෙන ඉන්දියන් chart එක අපි දැක්කා. මේකේ ලිසි බලධාරියාගෙන ඔබතුමාලා නොදැන ඉන්දියාව chart ගාලා ඉන්දියාවට දුන්නා ඔබතුමාලා දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලන්ට අපේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් බෝඩර්ස් වල තියෙන chart එකක් ඉන්දියාවත් එක්ක එකතු වෙලා විකුණන්න බෑ. අපිත් එක්ක නිගියුසුම් ගත වෙලා. ethically UKH වලට chart දෙකම විකුණන්න බෑ.
According to the National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency, in 2017, India, together with the Sri Lanka Navy had mapped the main shipping route close to Sri Lanka and its surrounding routes. The National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency notes that it was kept in the dark regarding this matter. However, these maps have not been officially shared with international shippers.
As soon as it is removed from the Nara, India will sign a MOU to publish these maps. After the Navy intervened, India has come in. This is where it becomes easy for them.
The Sri Lanka Navy Hydrographic Service told Newsfirst that the relevant marine geospatial data was gathered by the Sri Lanka Navy and the data cannot be released to a third party. Should the UK or India or any other country be in possession of these important resources, shouldn't the Sri Lanka Navy, National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency and all other stakeholders take measures to protect it? Should internal disputes pave the way for Sri Lanka's resources to fall into the hands of foreign nations?
Sea of Sri Lanka.
News First with the people.
In news-making headlines tonight, Minister of Highways Bandhu Nagarwardana is attempting to remove the popular street food stalls that have been operating at the Kimbulavala junction in Thalawathagoda.
Street food stalls operating at the Kimbulavala junction in Thalawathagoda consist of many types of businesses. A large number of people whose livelihoods were lost during the pandemic period found new hope operating food stalls at this location. The diverse number of vendors at the location made it a truly unique experience for consumers. But orders have been given to immediately remove the businesses at the Kimbulavala junction that support the economic needs of many families.
We were handed letters to vacate by the 24th. We think Bandhu Nagarwardana was caught in the traffic here when passing by. We believe there is another force behind this. Maybe they want to remove us and put someone else here.
We don't understand how they are suddenly worrying about traffic after 4 years. If we are asked to close down our shops, we will be clueless as to what to do next. Everyone here will lose their jobs. There are more than 20 street food stalls here. We all have the same question. What will happen if we are asked to close down?
The street food stalls at the Kimbulavala junction have served and continue to serve a key mode of income for many families and their children. Against such a backdrop, is it fair for authorities to adopt such ad hoc decisions, threatening what could be the sole source of income for the vendors at the location? Newsfirst will keep a close watch on this developing story. Moving on to other local developments, State Minister of Finance Dr. Ranjit Siyambalapitia says the government has obtained loans this year only by reissuing matured treasury bills.
The minister responded to allegations claiming that the government had raised an exorbitant amount in loans despite stating that borrowings has been completely stopped. The state minister points out that even though the newly introduced taxes will be added to the state's income from this month, the deficit will remain.
Sri Lanka's Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe has assured that measures are being taken to ensure the safety and protection of the banking industry. He was speaking at the 33rd anniversary convention of the Associations of Professional Bankers in Colombo today.
This year's theme for the 33rd anniversary convention of the Association of Professional Bankers, Sri Lanka, was Resilient and Adaptable, Way Forward for Banking. Sri Lanka's top bankers and other dignitaries participated at the event.
Where we stand.
Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe was the chief guest and keynote speaker at the event.
In this kind of situation, we all know banks are not in that easy situation like we had in the past. But I am confident that I like to give the message that we are here to protect and safeguard the banking industry, not only for your stability of your bank sector, but also for the betterment of the people of this country. The foreign currency and rupee liquidity positions of the bank sector were under stress, as you all know, due to series of macroeconomic developments, including continuous downgrading of sovereign rating, depletion of forex reserves, contractionary monetary policy, and crowding out of public investment by the government. However, the measures adopted by the central bank are being eased, and we see some improvement in the liquidity position of the banks now compared to what we had in last year. Central Bank has initiated several proactive crisis preparedness measures with a view to enhancing the resilience of banks and thereby minimizing the contagion risk and spillover effect to the economy. Further, we expect that the current challenges faced by the banking sector will ease in the near future with the measures taken by the central bank and the government to improve the macroeconomic conditions. Going forward, we are confident that the measures that we have been taking, they will be pretty soon. We are going to see a stability in terms of the program that we are basically so far have been working on. And we hope within very soon we see, for example, the unlocking the IMF program. With that, we can ease the foreign exchange situations, liquidity situation in the banking system. Already we have addressed the rupee liquid situations, and with that, there will be a lot of economic activities can come back to the economy.
Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe was presented a token of appreciation by the organisers.
The Sri Lanka Air Force is preparing to celebrate 72 years of service to the nation. Tonight, on our special segment, Sri Lankan Sky Warriors, we focus on the No. 7 Airlift Squadron of the Sri Lanka Air Force. Newsfirst's Pahan Chandramal filed this report.
Sri Lankan Sky Warriors.
It is 3,000 and back off mic action.
Operated from the Hinguragoda base of the Sri Lanka Air Force, the No. 7 Airlift Squadron is responsible for securing the sovereignty of the country's airspace and protecting it from enemies. No. 7 Airlift Squadron uses the US-manufactured Bell 206 Jet Ranger helicopter to train its pilots. After a complex theoretical and technical training process, trainee pilots take up the task of flying the Bell 20 Jet Ranger.
Back off mic.
Sri Lanka ගුවන් හමුදාවේ නිලධාරීන් මෙතනට කියන්නේ මේක හෙලිකොප්ටර් ගුවන් නියමුවන්ගේ මහගෙදර කියලා.
No. 7 Airlift Squadron is also fully equipped with Bell 212 helicopters. Bell 212s are mainly used for disaster management, VIP security and transportation.
ගුවන් හමුදාවේ 7 වන හෙලිකොප්ටර් බලගනේ බෙල් 212 ගුවන් යානය හදිසි මුදවා ගැනීමක් සඳහා පිටත්ව යාමට සියල්ල සූදානම්. ස්ක්වොඩ්‍රන් ලීඩර් නදුන් දෙනෙත්ති අපත් සමග සිටිනවා. තව සුළු මොහොතකින් අප මේ කඳවුරෙන් ගුවන් ගත වෙනවා. අපි බලමු මේ මෙහෙයුම සිදුවන ආකාරය.
The squadron is on standby to protect lives of people from any potential danger. Officers of the No. 7 Airlift Squadron are always on high alert to protect lives from natural disasters like wildfires, floods, landslides and disasters at sea.
The No. 7 Airlift Squadron is tasked with rescuing wounded soldiers who are on long missions on enemy territory. Our squadron has carried out more than 21,000 flight missions. We have rescued a large number of wounded soldiers.
සිදුවන ඕනෑම ව්‍යසනයකදී ක්ෂණිකව ළඟාවීමත් ක්ෂණිකව ප්‍රතිචාර දැක්වීමේ හැකියාවත් ඔවුන් සතුයි. මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ගුවන් හමුදාවේ හෙලිකොප්ටර් නියමුවන්ගේ මහගෙදර අංක 7 හෙලිකොප්ටර් බලගනය.
Sri Lankan Sky Warriors.
And that's a wrap of your news for tonight. For the News First team, I'm Mariam Benoit. Good night and take care.